Smog problem? What smog problem? Do you see a smog problem around here? Oh. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a realization of the true importance of China Uncensored has been thrust upon me. The Chinese regime's censorship is despicable. A recent documentary shocked millions in China, revealing the truth about the country's pollution problem. But that documentary was recently taken offline by censors. Now, the only way people in China will realize their country is polluted is by going through a dangerous, complicated process known as looking outside.
Sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight.
But I suppose it's only a matter of time until that's banned too. The documentary is being compared with Al Gore's climate change documentary, An Inconvenient Truth. It's called Under the Dome, a reference to the Stephen King book of the same name, in which a small town is mysteriously surrounded by a dome and, I don't know, people are monsters or something. Anyway, the reason the name was used is probably because at the end of the book, pretty much the whole town is killed in a toxic cloud. I don't know what they're trying to imply there. The documentary got over 300 million views and managed to stay online for almost a whole week before censors took it down. So who is this proverbial gunslinger going after the man in black that is China's pollution problem? Why, it's former CCTV reporter Chai Jing. Part of Chai's inspiration, she says, was the birth of her daughter with a benign tumor that she blames on the pollution. The documentary is in some ways remarkable. While some Chinese try to awkwardly blame China's pollution problem on foreign countries for manufacturing in China or barbecues, Chai delivers a TED Talk-style point-by-point analysis of the causes of pollution, leveling the blame at bureaucracy and cronyism within the government. She first tackles China's reliance on coal. China burns more coal than the rest of the world combined. Then she moves on to the regulators that routinely fail to impose penalties on everything from lowly truck drivers operating with counterfeit smog checks to oil companies that really don't seem to care. The oil industry in China is dominated by state-run companies, in other words, the government. The two biggest are Sinopec and PetroChina, the third and fourth companies listed on the Fortune 500. According to Chai, PetroChina controls 70% of the oil and natural gas industry in China. Finally, she hits on the banks for giving subsidies to zombie companies, basically industries that have totally failed but continue to be propped up by the government. This particularly happens in China's steel industry, according to the Under the Dome documentary. So, oh my gosh, somebody made a documentary like this in China. I don't think I want to stand too close to the splash zone. But this was the incredible thing that happened. Nothing. Under the Dome was not taken down for at least longer than you'd think. Initially, it was receiving really positive reviews, even from China's new Environment Minister Chen Jining, who said it was worthy of respect and thanked Chai for making it. And according to China Digital Times, the only censorship restrictions sent out were to not hype it. I mean, that makes sense, right? Pollution affects everyone. Well, except top officials in Beijing who have the best air purifiers in the world and get their food from guarded organic military farms. From the documentary, it's clear that Chai must have had support from some in the government. She interviews officials from the Ministry of Environmental Protection, for example. In an interview with the People's Daily, she said she cleared some of her interview material with different government groups. But then there was a meeting of China's rubber stamp parliament, the National People's Congress, and references to Under the Dome, at least the ones blaming the central government for the pollution problem, were being deleted. As one clever Weibo user, whom I wish I could hire to write for the show, said, 2 consecutive days with the blue sky, because all the blowhards are gathering in Beijing. That post was quickly deleted. The University of Hong Kong's Weiboscope censorship index tracked a steady rise in deleted posts relating to Under the Dome since its February 28th release, and by Friday, March 7th, it was done, gone, lost in the fog. Under the Dome was likely a victim of its own popularity in the end. After all, what was unusual about this documentary was not that it was censored, but that it remained uncensored for an entire week before getting the axe. But Chai Jing, a veteran of state-run media, knew which political lines not to cross. According to the New York Times, in an earlier version of the documentary, Chai talked about how pollution was a result of China's entire development model, which would have to change. That's something that the Chinese leadership would not have appreciated, and it was left out of the final version. I have not heard of any misfortunes befalling Chai Jing. As far as I know, she's still alive and breathing. Uh-oh. Breathing? In China? She's doomed. As for you not living in China or with VPNs, I've provided a link below to the documentary available on YouTube, which is of course banned in China. Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Be sure to check out the Facebook and Twitter page, as well as ChinaUncensored.org, where you can sign up for the weekly China Uncensored newsletter. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.